What do you see? There's Pepper. Hey, Pepper. Go. That damage down there was already on the trailer when I picked it up. He was back here somewhere in the middle of the trailer with his trailer last night, but there's no damage on the side of the trailer. I wondered a little bit, you know, if maybe some of it's here, but there's a little mark right up there. That was already here, and that was already here, so, you know, really not much, you know, you can do about it if that's what's already existing. So, anyway, I'm gonna finish walking the dog. I'll get back to you. Morning. Don't you love? I love it when my hair is brushed and I can actually talk to you guys about stuff. Anyway, a bit of an opinion piece this morning. So, I think what I'm gonna start doing, I like doing these opinion pieces about things because it just gets stuff off my head, off my mind, or whatever. So I may just start putting them in and just go opinion in front of them, like in capital letters and like a colon, and I just look, you know, leave it out there. And if people like them, they can like them. If they don't, they don't. You know. So, but an opinion piece this morning. Opinion. I got on Facebook this morning because I'm a glutton for punishment, and usually I think everybody that has Facebook and has a problem with Facebook generally will wake up and the first thing they do is they get on Facebook and they start looking at what all's going on. And I ran across this one post, and it was this gentleman who has a vehicle. I'm not going to tell you what kind of post it was or where it was or what it was about, because, you know, that's not my situation. I shouldn't talk about it, but I can talk about what I saw in a way that continues anonymity for those people. It was a post about a guy who decided that he was going to change something on his truck to the way he wanted it to be. And somebody got on and they said, what kind of drugs are you smoking or taking that you think that this is cool, blah, 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 blah. And it just pissed me off this morning. And the reason it pissed me off was because, you know, that's that guy's thing. That's that guy's desire to have that, you know? And that's the thing about, you know, our society nowadays. Like, we're trying to build this society that goes, listen, are you happy? Then be happy, okay? If you're not happy, figure out what makes you happy and do that thing. As long as it's not destructive towards another individual, then we don't care. You know, if it's done in love and truthfulness for you, then we're not, you know, I don't care. I don't care. Be happy, okay? And you get these people who go, I'd never do that to my truck. I was like, well, then don't ever do it to your truck, you know? Before Facebook, I remember, this kind of relates to a story about me as a kid. Before Facebook, I would go to car shows, you know? And when I was much younger. And I remember I went to this one car show one time at this church. And everything's like Corvette and Camaro and 57 Chevy. And I'm not really into those cars. I like the Tri-5 Chevys. You know, I think the Camaros and the Corvettes are cool in their own way, but that's not my taste in cars. But I remember thinking, you know, this guy rolled up in a pickup truck, and it was a newer truck. It was an OBS style Chevy truck, and he had a V6 in that truck, and he had put straight pipes on it, or allowed exhaust on it, and you could tell when he came in that it didn't sound like a V8. I mean, there were plenty of V8s there for us to listen to, and it didn't sound like a V8. And I thought, well, who puts a exhaust on a V6? Like, V6s are just, you know, they're So, inferior to V8s, blah, 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 blah. And, I always kind of felt bad about that later, because I'll feel guilty about stuff like that. Excuse me. Corona. Anyway. A little water. And, so I always kind of felt bad about that, because that was his truck. It had a nice paint job. It had a nice interior. He had a V6 because that's what he wanted. And it worked for him, and he wanted something that made a little bit of noise, and he made a little bit of noise. I used to make fun of the foreign cars that would run around with those, sound like a bumblebee on steroids, And the thing is, it's at some point I figured out that that's what other people like, and that's okay. That's what gives them goosebumps on their arm when they hear it, or that's what lightens their heart when they hear it or see it or whatever. And so, because if it makes them happy, it makes them feel better, it's all right. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to feel better. They're allowed to be happy. Let them be happy, And that's the thing. But too often now in our society, because we have Facebook, we think that we have the ability to just say what we want to say, And I don't know why my eyes running. See anything? Maybe a little gunk. Anyway, squirrel. We don't allow people to do what they want to do on Facebook. We see it, and we think we have the right to say what we want to say about it, and then we can say anything we want. And the thing is, that's what's creating a terrible society. That's one of the things that's creating a terrible society in America, is that we think our opinion, no matter what our opinion is, matters. And the honest answer is, it doesn't. And one of the wonderful things that I liked about what I saw today was that so many people got on and said, hey, it's not your truck, what's your problem? And I think a lot of our society tends to do that. And I think, in a way, as much as I don't like doing it, as much as I don't like calling out people for what they say, I think our society really needs to do that. Because, we have people in our society that are saying things that are a lot worse than, I don't like what you did to your truck. And we have to call them out on it if we want a better society, if we want an equal society, if we want a society that isn't racist or misogynistic or any of those things. We are going to have to call people out on their shit, basically. So, but I just this morning, I guess it's kind of asking you guys that follow me and listen to my petty ranting here on YouTube. Just remember what we always say on social media. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. If you don't like what somebody's doing to their vehicle or in their life, leave them alone. It's like I said, as long as they're not murdering people or being destructive, like mentally destructive towards other people, or being hateful, it's not your business, what they're doing. Another example, and why I want to give another example right now is just because I feel like you need one, is all of the ordinances that go on in the cities nowadays. People, they get upset because the value of their house goes down because the guy next door has a car in his backyard, or two cars in his backyard or whatever. But you know what? That kind of goes into the same thing. That guy likes cars. And he has a right on his property to pursue his happiness. That's what the Constitution gives us, the Declaration of Independence. Was the right to pursue happiness, And a lot of these city ordinances don't allow that. I know Fort Worth, for instance, has a city ordinance that says 1 car per licensed driver in the household. So if you have a son who, let's say, is 14, and he wants to build himself a 69 Camaro SS for his 16th birthday, you can't have that car because he's not licensed. You're not allowed to have it there, at least. And you're certainly not allowed to work on it. There's an ordinance about working on the car in the driveway. So, and that came, the reason that those come about is because somebody broke the rules at some point. And I get that, but more or less it was because somebody complained because somebody broke the rules at some point. And, well, they didn't break the rules. There were no rules about working in your driveway, and they didn't break the rules and weren't doing anything wrong. But somebody complained because somebody was working on their car in their driveway, and they didn't like it. And that's like the whitest thing I've ever heard, in all honesty. I'm white. And I'll tell you right now, white people cannot help themselves sometimes by interjecting, and that's why we get all these videos about people calling on black families, you know, when they're barbecuing in the park and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, that's my opinion, and this is an opinion piece, so it's okay. Anyway, just, you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Treat people the way you want to be treated, you know, and leave people alone if they're happy. You know, as long as they're not being destructive or racist, leave people alone. So, anyway, that's it. You know the drill. Keep the shiny side up. See you guys down the road.